Please welcome to Moment and Story. Here you'll find story that inspire, touch the heart, and reflect the beauty of everyday life. Two skies of rain. The rain of Bangkok fell on tin roofs like fingernails clawing steel. In a room barely the size of a mat, Lucas stood silent, his hand gripping a copy of a birth certificate. The edge of the paper bent slightly, like the lips of someone unwilling to tell the truth. The name of the boy, Tonkla, 5 years old. The father's space was not him. The mother's name was Nampha, the same name as the woman he had called his wife for 7 years. The lines of rain stretched like time itself, endless. He counted backwards, month by month, season by season. From Koh Chang, where the smell of the sea mixed with coconut oil, to Munich's Christmas market, where snow bit into cheeks until they turned red. Love never asked permission to be born, but secrets always moved in carrying their shoes. And when those shoes left mud across the floor, it was hard for the word family to ever look clean again. He had no curse ready, no courage to scream louder than the rain. He only lifted his face to the storm like a sinner to fire, and for the first time asked himself without lying, these 7 years. Had he loved a woman, or only the story he told himself in the mirror? Lucas met Nampha at the bar of her cousin's resort. She lifted a glass of bright blue and told him its name was Talay Jai, Sea of the Heart. He laughed at the name that didn't exist in any German menu, and thought to himself that the world still held many colors he had never known. Nampha spoke directly about her mother and Ison. If you take me, you must take my mother too. Lucas, an engineer who believed everything could be solved with planning, listed silently in his head: visa, language, housing, schedule. He did not write down the word fear. Winter in Munich came with short daylight and long silence. Nampha learned to knit scarves from YouTube, Lucas told her. Even if it's crooked, it's stylish. She laughed at his accent. At night, Lucas's mother asked softly, "She will stay long?" He only answered with a smile. But he noticed how Nampha sometimes stared out the window at falling snow as if searching for her mother's face within the white. The years turned like train wheels. Nampha often returned to Thailand, saying her mother was ill. Lucas followed sometimes, then she flew back to Germany sometimes. Their marriage became like a pendulum swinging between two skies. He convinced himself that love was strong enough to travel 15 hours on a plane. He convinced himself that absence was proof of trust. Yet every time he saw her pack a suitcase, a splinter lodged in his chest. One evening in Bang Rak district, Lucas flew to surprise her. He arrived at her rented room unannounced. A child's drawing of a house was pinned to the wall. He felt something twist inside him but said nothing. Nampha rushed in from the market, shocked at his presence. "You should have told me you were coming." He laughed, trying to ease her nerves. That night, while she cooked curry, he asked, "Do you ever feel torn?" She answered without looking up, "Love is not tearing, it is stitching. If it hurts, it's because the needle is sharp." 7 years passed like a blur. Lucas thought marriage was a long bridge built of patience. But the bridge carried too many footsteps, his, hers, her mother's, and now others. He noticed she avoided phone calls at night, speaking softly in Thai he couldn't fully follow. He told himself it was only family talk. But small cracks in bridges always grow. He did not yet know that beneath his feet, the ground was hollow, waiting to collapse. At a festival in Ison, Lucas returned once more to visit Nampha's family. Children ran around with sparklers, their laughter sharp against the night air. One boy caught his attention. About 5 years old, with round cheeks and eyes that glowed when he laughed. The boy clung to Nampha's hand like a vine to a tree. "Who is he?" Lucas asked casually. "My cousin's child," Nampha answered too quickly. Lucas smiled, but inside, unease rippled like disturbed water. Every return trip to Germany came with new excuses. "Mother is sicker. The rice harvest failed. There is always something in the village." Lucas believed her. Or perhaps he wanted to. He told himself that compassion was love, and patience was faith, but when she left again, the rooms in Munich grew colder. His scarf hung untouched, though it was winter. The silence at the dinner table grew so heavy it bent his spine. At the immigration office, Lucas signed another set of forms to extend Nampha's stay. The clerk glanced at the documents and raised an eyebrow. "She travels a lot," the clerk remarked. "Yes," Lucas answered firmly. That night, he searched through old papers. Boarding passes. Receipts from markets in Thailand. Hotel bills. He stacked them in neat piles, each one proof that love could be measured in tickets and stamps. Yet at the bottom of one folder, he found a hospital bill from Con Kane, 5 years ago. The line item read, "Delivery room." His hands shook. He asked Nampha the next morning, "Why was there a hospital bill from Con Kane?" Her hand froze halfway through pouring coffee. "It was for a friend." "Whose name was on the wristband?" Lucas pressed. She did not answer. The silence between them became thicker than steel. That night she slept with her back to him. Lucas stared at the ceiling, unable to close his eyes. In the cracks of his chest, suspicion grew roots. Weeks later, Lucas returned suddenly to Thailand, unannounced. He went to Bang Rak again. From the stairwell, he heard a child's voice. "May. May. Mother." He froze. It was the same boy, now with a toy car in his hand. The boy called Nampha mother. Lucas's knees weakened. The mirror of 7 years shattered all at once. When Nampha turned and saw him, her lips parted, but no words came. Behind her, in the shadows of the room, stood a man, Panam. Panam stepped forward, his shoulders broad, his eyes sharp like a blade honed in the dark. He looked at Lucas without flinching. "This is my house," Panam said. Lucas answered quietly, "This is her house." "And the boys?" Nampha stood between them, trembling. "Please, don't fight here." But the words only deepened the wound already open. That night, Lucas sat alone in a cheap hotel near Hua Lamphong. He thought of every conversation, every flight, every excuse. The puzzle pieces fit together now, painfully clear. Nampha had carried a child 5 years ago. She had been with Panam all along. The boy, Tonkla, was proof written in flesh. He pressed his palms to his eyes until sparks of color burst in the darkness. 7 years of lies lay heavy on his chest like a collapsed roof. Days passed. Lucas followed at a distance, watching Tonkla walk to school hand in hand with Panam. The boy laughed, unaware of the storm circling above. Lucas clenched his fists but said nothing. He was not sure who he was anymore. Husband, stranger, intruder. Every time Panam looked back and met his eyes, Lucas felt the burn of a man who had lost and did not know what he was fighting for. That evening, rain came heavy, striking tin roofs like gravel hurled by angry hands. In a small rented room at the city's edge, Panam leaned against the wall, cigarette smoke curling into a curtain. He smirked when Lucas climbed the concrete stairs. "What do you want?" Panam asked. voice short and hard. "Responsibility," Lucas answered. "Not excuses." Panem laughed dryly. "A foreigner teaching me morals?" "Not morals, duty. A father must come. Not vanish like a bus driven by a drunk." Panem moved closer, jaw muscles tight. "Don't try to act tough in my place." "This is Tonkla's home," Lucas said evenly. "Not yours alone. He needs someone who comes every time, not just when it's convenient." Panem shoved his chest lightly, a challenge. The neon light flickered like a war drum. Lucas did not retreat. "If you love your son, prove it. Not with shouts, but with presence." The door creaked open. Nampha stood there, eyes wet. "Don't do this in front of him." From inside, Tonkla peeked out, wide-eyed. "May." Panem glanced at his son's gaze. His fists loosened, dropping slowly as though laying a knife onto wood. Lucas pressed on. "Tomorrow morning, we go to the district office. We'll write an agreement about child support and visitation. You will sign it. In front of officials." Panem said nothing. Then finally nodded, like a man surrendering to the rope around his own neck. "Fine." The next morning, at the old district office, the air conditioner fought the heat. An officer placed papers on the table. Nampha sat in the middle. Lucas on one side. Panem on the other, like a beam unbalanced. Lucas spoke calmly. "I am not the father on paper. But I will not stand between a father and his son. I only ask that the boy not be left waiting for someone who never comes." Panem read the form slowly. His lips moved silently over the words. Finally he asked, "And if I have no money this month?" The officer cut in, firm. "You must notify in advance and make it up the following month. Failure to do so without notice is a violation." Nampha turned to Panem, voice steady. "A child is not an expense. A child is life." Panem gripped the pen so tight it cracked faintly. He signed, hand shaking like a bridge bearing too heavy a load. The officer stamped the page, thud. Tonkla, waiting with a sketchbook in the corner, smiled faintly at his father. Lucas exhaled long. He had not defeated anyone. Only the voice in his head that wanted to scream. The family court of Bangkok buzzed with the sound of shoes striking marble and whispers pressing against the air. The judge sat high above the bench, voice crisp. "This case concerns custody and child support." Lucas sat on one side, his gray suit plain but firm. Nampha sat in the center, eyes unwavering. Panem sat on the other side, his face drawn tight like a boxer before the bell. The court officer asked Panem, "How much monthly support will you provide?" Panem hesitated. "My income is not stable." The judge cut him short. "A child cannot wait for unstable income." Nampha spoke clearly. "I don't ask beyond reason. Only that our son knows his father will not disappear." Lucas added, "And if he fails, I am ready to help. But there must be an agreement, not floating promises." The judge struck the gavel, thud. "The court sets a minimum child support and visitation rights twice weekly. Any failure without just cause will be a violation of the order." Panem lowered his head and signed. His pen scraped the paper, the line shaking like a bridge after trucks thunder across. Nampha held Tonkla's hand tight. The boy looked at his father and whispered, "You'll really come, right?" Panem paused, then nodded. Tears welled in his eyes. The courtroom echoed with the judge's commands, but in the child's heart, the sound was the first true promise he could trust. The rain of Bangkok softened at last. Clouds broke, letting sunlight fall in narrow streams. Tonkla ran in the yard, chasing a paper boat through puddles. Nampha watched him with eyes no longer filled with fear, only weariness and hope. Panem stood by the gate, cigarette unlit in his hand. For the first time in years, he chose not to light it. Lucas leaned against the wall, silent as always. They did not speak. But in their silence, an uneasy truce was written. The boy laughed, splashing water. His laughter cut through the bitterness of adults like a song sung only for himself. The sky above carried both storm and sun. Perhaps families were not about perfection, but about not letting the bridge collapse completely. And in that fragile balance between rain and light, Tonkla grew, under two skies, with three shadows that would never leave his side.